Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast with your host, Nate, and the lovely Fergus. We are all here to see you all back for one more time of this show. So come along with us. Oh, indeed. I love that, Fergus. That was so good, man. That was so good. Nice harmonies going there. Welcome back, everybody. How is everybody doing out there? Today is for our lovely 33rd episode of NMI, When You Need More Info, a podcast exploring the worlds of movies, video games, and TV shows. I'm your host, Nate. Again, as just mentioned in the musical intro that I always come up with on the spot, to my lovely co-host, Fergus. How are you doing today, man?
Hello, everyone. I'm good, thanks. I've been having a bit of a quiet August, to be honest. I've been playing games, watching anime, usual sort of stuff.
So quiet but usual, so standard, really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair, though, man. Like, I know you finished Forza, and you moved on to what was it? You moved on to?
Oh, what did I move on to? Several things actually. I have recently been playing more Halo.
That was it.
Yes, more Halo. Medieval Dynasty. I've been playing a winemaking indie game called 100 Days, which is quite good if you're into your wine. I, on the anime front, recently signed up to High Dive.
And what is High Dive?
It is like an even more niche version of Crunchyroll. It's
well done.
It's anime exclusive streaming service and covers quite a lot of the things I haven't seen yet. So
fair enough.
Things like Made in Abyss and Call of the Night I've been watching, which are both very good.
Interesting. Very interesting indeed. For myself, well, Fergus knows this, but I've been ill. It knocked me on my ass. But you know, that's why we didn't release the podcast the week before, people, because I was in hospital at the time. So unfortunately, I was in hospital, not thinking like, oh, my health. I was thinking, oh my god, I forgot to edit that episode and get it released. Dedication.
There's no rush.
No, people. But honestly, it's great to be back, people. It's a bit more mellow today, still recovering, but we definitely needed to get this episode out because obviously we had a big gaming event, didn't we, Fergus?
We do here in Europe. Gamescom is now live.
The biggest event in the world.
Quite possibly, yes. And it is spewing out games trailers left, right, and center.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And obviously, you know, the time we are recording this, the Future Games show is actually occurring at the same time. So we may do a second show later in the week that we'll release a bit later. So we'll do a Gamescom episode with the opening night with Jeff Keighley. And then we may do a Future Game show or basically every other game that came out of that. We'll see how it goes. Either way, either we'll cover it this week or next week. So you may have a special episode on Tuesday. It may just be next Friday to cover as well. It's like a part 2 for Gamescom. But also, we are in discussion about doing a favorite soundtracks episode. Now, I'm not going to specify film, TV, or video game because I'm trying to work out the copyright at the moment. I think we should be okay if we play 10, 15 seconds. But that'll be very interesting because I know we have some plans in the work as well for maybe some additional hosts to come on, get a guest host to come on, which we will link to that. So that'll be very interesting indeed. But yeah, so obviously, you know, we've spoke about how we are, we've done all the things. We're going to do things a little bit different today, people. Obviously, last week or last episode, we did our favorite top 5 cult movies, and it was a very interesting list of movies, to be honest. Did you actually go away and watch any of those movies, Fergus, or are they still on your list?
They are still on my to-do list. I'm not sure what I've been doing otherwise. I will get round to them. I will.
Oh no, I'm the same to us. I've been watching The Sandman. I've been like trying to catch up with some stuff. I've been rewatching Bones, the TV show. The list is becoming ever-growing. Also saw House of the Dragon, the first episode of that, and obviously we've got Lord of the Rings coming out next Friday, which is insane, people. 2-hour premiere episode, like the first 2 episodes.
Again, it's just launch it as a movie.
I mean, they are actually releasing it in cinemas. The first 2 episodes are going to be in cinemas for one night only.
Oh,
One
cool.
night only.
I've not seen that advertised anywhere. I might
Well,
try to seek
hopefully,
that out. Yeah.
hopefully we could go to Cineworld if it isn't closed by then.
Yes, we do need to talk about that. The world's second largest cinema holding group is considering bankruptcy.
Though they have said there are considerations in place for if they do file bankruptcy to still operate. They're not specified at the moment what that's exactly going to be. But it'll be really sad to see, to be honest, because outside of Cineworld, we only have Odeon, and for the big cinemas in the UK at least.
Yeah.
And the View Cinema,
Yeah.
but View isn't as big as the other two, to be honest. They have the best
No.
seats. They have
Yeah.
the best seats, but yeah, maybe View can actually look at some of it. But the problem is though, cinema needs to evolve, and we go back and listen to our episode on could streaming replace cinema, because I think that actually ties into
Mm.
like what's going on at the moment quite well, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but obviously, with that in mind, I've just added those things to the list. So many shows to watch at the moment, so many games coming out soon. A bit light on the Sony front, actually. We'll get into that in a minute when we start talking about Gamescom. And I forgot some predictions there. But yeah, right, Fergus. So we're not going to be doing any movie or TV shows news this week. We're just going to get straight into the video games. What we're going to be doing is, because there was like 40 games, Fergus, wasn't there? It was just like so many just from the opening night.
Yeah.
And we picked our top 5 favorites, so we're just going to discuss those. We may have an honorable mention or 2 maybe there, but we weren't discussing that much. We'll have like a few minutes to talk about each of the games, what we like about them, what our hopes for them, and then we'll move on. So that's the plan for the episode. So basically, Fergus, I think it's time, not for the news, but us to deep dive into that Cologne.
Absolutely.
Right. So how were your initial impressions of Gamescom opening night?
So I have not watched the stream. I have just gone through the trailers. Of the offerings, I think space is a big theme this year. Lots of space, lots of guns, kind of a wide variety of RPG and shoot 'em ups. But I think my overall impression was quite a lot of the games were quite similar in theming. I don't know what that says about trends and stuff, but I think everyone's got on a very specific trend there.
Well, I think you definitely hit the nail on the head there with the lots of space, because obviously we literally went into space. If you didn't know this, one of the actual videos was from I believe the International Space Station, from an astronaut who was actually talking about how there were a lot of space games this year.
I missed that.
Yeah, it was the European Space Agency. There was a video, I believe it was the European Space Agency. But yeah, no, there was I can't remember the astronaut's name, unfortunately. But yeah, I was interested that we actually went to space because of that. I definitely agree on the space front, though. We definitely had a lot of sci-fi space RPG themed game, or just that collected this year. And yeah, my impression is though, it was quite Sony light. Like there wasn't many big Sony first party titles, because obviously we have God of War coming out in November. Outside of that, I'm and obviously we have the Ubisoft forward like showcase in September, on September 10th. And we have the Disney D23 gaming event, which is the first of its kind for Marvel and Star Wars games. So I'm wondering, maybe we'll get a lot more announcements there. But I know PlayStation do a showcase every year, not a state of play, which is like a smaller event, like an actual showcase. I'm hoping they do one this year. Like, at least give us an idea of what's coming up.
You would hope, yes. You would. If they have anything to show at all, they should be doing some kind of event the next week or so.
Most definitely. Like, I don't get me wrong. Like, COVID has hit developers really hard, to be honest, and that is understandable. And that we're actually going to talk about one game in particular that's actually had its release day pushed up, which is very unheard of.
That's very rare.
And now, don't get me wrong, it's only 4 days. But there's still 4 days.
Still,
yeah. And that's Gotham Knights.
Oh wow! Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's now coming out on October 21st, which I'm very happy with, because that is the Friday of the week of my birthday. So I'm very happy. So
Birthday present.
Yes, exactly. A little birthday present, people. And also, it follows the trend that a lot of the Batman games have come out around my birthday. So I'm very happy with that, to be honest. We actually got to see like a proper villains narrative trailer for this game. And it showed like some interesting aspects like Batgirl against Harley Quinn, Clayface against Robin, Tim Drake, and Red Hood. Now and Jason Todd even. Now I'm very intrigued by this because, you know, as we've been saying, we're still half and half about this game. But I think this trailer. Have you seen the trailer?
Yeah. It looks okay. Wasn't blown away by it, but you know, if you really want to get super deep into your Batman, I think it is. You wouldn't find faults with it at all.
No, not in any sense. Not in any sense. It's very interesting, to be honest. But yeah, no. I think when it comes to it though, like the villains trailer itself is quite impressive, to be honest. Like I just looking at it, I think when it comes to the actual trailer, obviously you can tell this isn't like, because a lot of the titles that are being developed now are in Unreal Engine 5. So this is probably going to be like one of the last big games from the Unreal Engine 4. But visually, though, I'm actually quite impressed how it is looking, especially the designs for the actual bat suits, the bat family suits. They have like samurai inspired ones and everything, and it's like very interesting. And obviously, it's going to be. See, this is my concern actually. If I pause it in the video here, we have a character that appears on screen in a purple suit. Now, obviously, this game is based on the Court of Owls, but you know exactly where I'm going with this right now.
Joker.
It better not be. I will be pissed. Like
surprise boss, it's Joker.
The thing is that I know the developers have said that the Joker's not in this game. I believe the Joker's dead. Same as Batman. But the thing is, though, in Arkham Origins, you know, spoiler, Black Mask turned out to be Joker. So I'm just hoping they don't pull that again. I'm hoping that putting this in the trailer is a misdirect to actually keep people off guard a little bit, which I think is actually a smart move. But in regards to the actual trailer itself, though, I'm actually quite impressed, to be honest. Like visually, like the whole Frost like aspect really works quite well. Clayface, I'm a big fan of, and also he seems to be like talking in theater talk, like the show must go on. This is my biography, like very interesting, like narrative. I'm just interested to see how this plays out, to be honest. This is, and obviously, as I said, this is coming out 4 days earlier. But yeah, quite looking forward to that, to be honest. But yeah, again, I was kind of hoping for maybe some Marvel Spider-Man 2 footage, like gameplay, because that's supposed to be coming out next year. We'll probably we'll most likely get that either the PlayStation Showcase or Games Night, the Game Awards in December, which they've announced for December already. So we'll probably get that, to be honest.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is now, people, is that's basically our initial impressions of the event. One other things is that they did actually speak about a Hideo Kojima podcast.
A rival podcast? What's this?
I know, it's going to be the Hideo Kojima Presents Brain Structure. It's basically, where does Hideo Kojima, creator of the globally acclaimed video game Death Stranding and Metal Gear franchise, gets his ideas? In this podcast, we will take a deep dive into his brain and shed light on his creative process. The first episode of Hideo Kojima Presents Brain Structure will launch on September 8th, with new subsequent episodes released weekly each Thursday at 9 p.m. Japanese time. They'll be released in Japanese and English. So,
cool. Okay.
I'm very much looking forward to this, to be honest. Like, I love listening to my game developer like podcast, and from the Hideo Kojima man himself, you know, what more can we want, to be honest? And obviously, you know, it's not a game show about Jeff Keighley and Hideo like getting together in those things, to be honest. And also, they announced a Pokemon car, a Pokemon Mini specifically. We won't really go into this much, but it's completely electric. You can play video games on it, and also, from the looks of it in the trailer, it has a projector in the grille of the car.
That sounds good.
So you can project the screen onto a wall.
Yeah, you just drive along, bring your own drive-through.
It'll be
sort of
hilarious. Like you're on the motorway and you're just
cinema.
behind this 18-wheeler truck for 2 hours. Just project. Maybe it's probably quite dangerous to project a movie.
I suspect to be blind a few people coming in the other direction.
Hey, it could be one of those LA traffic jams where they're stuck for like 3 hours and like, what could we do? Let's put on a movie for everyone. I don't know. One of
Pokemon
those.
movie.
One of those movies where LA gets sunken into the ocean and whatnot. We'll get into that a bit later. Actually, with LA, one of my games actually on our list. So, Fergus, we're actually going to go on to our lists now.
Mm.
We're gonna start with you today, obviously. So, what game are we starting with today?
Okay, so first trailer that jumped out at me this year is Word Song. It is, admittedly, it's a teaser trailer, so there's not a huge amount of information. But this is from Something Wicked Games. This new studio made up of the developers whose credits include Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls Skyrim, amongst others. So you can see why I've got interest and confidence in this game. Like, I think we're heading very much into to explain kind of the theming around it. It's kind of spacey, but also medievally with flags, and there's a lot of mythos sort of stuff going on. So there's going to be like, I think, different realities playing side by side here. As I say, it's all very here we go. Word Song's an occult historical fantasy RPG set in a fictionalized Portugal in the Middle Ages. Although, judging by the trailer, it doesn't really. I say it feels a lot more spacey in line with the theme of the other trailers this year. But it's middle age. But it's a very interesting, just a very interesting 30 seconds. Really, you have my interest.
And also, it's this is going from digitaltrends.com. Supposedly, it's inspired by Robert Eggers' The Witch, which is a lovely little film that Anya Taylor-Joy was in, I believe.
I've not seen this film.
It's kind of a fucked up movie, to be honest. Like Robert Eggers does some amazing movies, but I watched that movie and wow, it's brilliant. It's kind of fucked up in a brilliant sense. Just great to watch. Very dark. It's one of those one-time viewings for me, to be honest.
I might have to check that out then.
I believe and also this is an open world RPG as well. So that will be interesting. So it seems it's going from Digital Trends again. It does say go into the mythological history of the Knights Templar and all the weird rituals. I'm very interested by the Templars.
Yes, there's a lot of mythos around the Templars, secret societies, or the
assassins.
I think it goes way beyond that, really. Like, yeah, no, I think they found quite a deep vein of content to mine for this game, I think.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And obviously, people, there's a party going on outside Fergus's. That's probably the sound going on outside there.
Yeah, that's how it is normally.
Yeah, so apologies, people, if you hear a bit of a woo party in the background. That's outside Fergus's. But happens, people. That's why you do it when you record. The power of recording with your friends. Right. Again, like I'm actually like hoping to see some gameplay soon. I'm presuming like we'll probably see gameplay within the next 6 months to 6 to 3/4 months, probably.
I would hope so. Yes. I mean, they've kind of. It would be a shame if they just dropped this and vanished for a year. So I hope they've got something to start pushing forwards.
I mean, the hope is also like with Bethesda when they take ages. Like we're talking Elder Scrolls 6 here, taking quite a long time to get that game done. That'd be quite funny if this actually comes out from new developers earlier than Elder Scrolls 6, who probably worked on
it might. I mean, they're a new studio, so in terms of like funding and whatnot, they're going to want to get the game out so they can start bringing in some income.
Yeah, definitely agree there. Right, so we will finish it there. We will go on to my first game, which is not this one. We will come to that a bit later. It's Lies of P. This is the This is the game from the set in the Belle Epoque era. Liza P puts a dark twist on the well-known classic Pinocchio. Awakened by a mysterious voice, Pinocchio must find a way to save the city of Krat from being ravaged by puppets. Pinocchio, with its special heart, learns how to become a true human by lying. This trailer looks very interesting. Like, this is a Souls-like game. This is my concern. Like, when it comes to these sorts of games, I'm a bit like, iffy about them because, no easy way to put it. I'm shit at Souls-like games most of the time. But when it comes to this, though, I'm hoping they might take a more like Elden Ring approach. Like, it's a bit more easier on the aspect of like when it comes to saves and like save points and everything. But going actually by the Steam page, like the one thing I'm very interested in is the lying mechanic and multiple endings approach. So going from the Steam page, experience interconnected procedural quests that play out depending on how you lie. These choices will affect how the story ends. Is it like your nose gets too big to get to the end? Is that what it could be?
I will say I did watch this trailer, but I didn't really read anything about it, and I did not get that this was Pinocchio.
Well,
or there was a lying mechanic.
Yeah, well, no, the lying mechanic I don't think comes into it that much too much. I think it's just more spoken at the moment, but I'm actually looking forward to how this plays out a bit later. Like with the skill system as well, going by the Steam page, with Pinocchio being a doll, you could change parts of his body to gain new skills and hopefully an edge in battle, but not all the enhancements are for fighting, though. They can also provide several other unique and useful features. This does intrigue me, like actually tying in the upgrade system to the actual character, which is actually very intriguing because it is a puppet. He is a puppet. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's quite similar to the Cyberpunk upgrades systems.
I mean,
upgrade your hands to do.
He's kind of the
stuff.
OG. He's kind of the OG in this aspect, if you think about it.
So this is kind of steampunk, cyberpunk upgrade mechanics sort of deal.
Yeah, definitely steampunk more, I'd say. Like, obviously, combined weapons, research combinations. Again, like, I'm very intrigued by this game. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out. I'm just wondering how it will. But yeah, again, like hopefully I'll be able to play this game because I love the design of it, and I think also we're getting more gameplay now, and I believe it is coming out and it is coming to Xbox Game Pass, so you will be able to play it day one on Game Pass. So that's pretty great, to be honest. I don't know if we have a release date yet. It's not been announced. This is coming from the Steam storefront page, but again, we're looking forward to this game. So yeah, right. Anyway, Fergus, let us hop across to your next game.
Game 2 is Where the Winds Meet, which is a Everstone Studios game. This is so you take on the role of one of many Oriental martial arts set in
At the sun. So this is coming from IGN. It's set specifically at the center of the 5 dynasties and 10 kingdoms period before the Song Dynasty.
Right. Yes. I was trying to figure out roughly when that was. Basically, historical martial arts, lots of intriguing action, very stylish. Like your character can run across water, blow up things while shooting arrows in midair. It's you can also use like cultural techniques to sort of stun enemies or get them to do things and this sort of stuff. So it's kind of like quite a in-depth combat, historical combat game. Very stylish.
Oh wow! I'm just reading here. Like, sorry to interrupt, but I'm just reading on IGN about how the whole players can become ill from weather environments. They can learn medical abilities. They also don't have to be warriors. They could be like doctors, and players could choose other occupations. Which is like, okay, that again. When I kind of knew this was probably going to be one of your games, to be honest, because we all love this like time period, and I think like the games I've gone for I'm glad we're definitely covering this, but I definitely knew you were probably going to put this on your list, to be honest. And the one thing I will say is when I initially saw this, now I know this is like Chinese and Japanese, but the visual style and the UI does remind me of Ghost of Tsushima a little bit.
Mm,
Now,
yeah,
obviously, the actual combat itself is more hastened; it's quicker. But I
yeah.
think like some of the actual visuals do remind me of Ghost of Tsushima, which I did love. And obviously, I love a good like narrative that plays on history or like a time period in history. And I'm wondering how this will actually play out. And obviously, this is probably more the fantastical side of that, which I'm very intrigued by.
Yeah, no, it'll absolutely be a very interesting game to immerse yourself in and say so many playthroughs with many different character types. I mean, the trailer does very much focus on action and jumping around and this sort of thing, but I think there is quite a lot more to this game than the trailer would initially suggest. But I mean, it's drag you in. I said there's not a huge amount of information right now, as far as I'm aware.
I think so. I'm just going to have to interject. I definitely think we will have to do a follow-up episode because they've just released 12 minutes of footage from Lies of P.
Oh wow, okay.
So yeah, no doubt, we're probably going to be getting a lot of that. So yeah, we'll probably have to do a follow-up episode. But yeah, so I continue on, Fergus.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of player agency in this game, by the sounds of it. They say game worlds are getting bigger and more complicated, and you can live your life in this era how you want. Who knows what the story will be, but very much looking forward to this. We'll most certainly play when it comes out.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. Definitely look forward to this.
An illegal spy agency discovers the theft of a prototype weapon. Derek, codename Confused Llama, and his handler, Frank, codename Majestic Vole, investigate the theft. A naive man with fanciful notions, Derek sets out on his inept journey to reclaim the weapon from villainous hands, unaware of the hidden tale following him. Enter the world of Confused Llama, A Spy's Tale, a short comedic spy thriller available on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Right. Moving along to the title that I'm looking forward to next, and that is just going to bring this up on the old list now, people, because we've got like multiple windows open. So just bringing this open now. There we go. It is Moonbreaker. Now, as Fergus will know, this man on screen right now, Mr. Brandon Sanderson. Obviously famous for the Mistborn series, and it is the Mistborn series, correct? Isn't it? Like, yeah. So he's done like I've heard many jokes of people saying, "Does this man ever sleep?" Like
He is an incredibly prolific writer. Yeah.
I mean, I've got to give it to him. Like, this guy could be the next George R. R. Martin in terms of scale, like like notability and like general audiences. Obviously, he's known in the reading community quite well, and the sci-fi fantasy community quite well, I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised none of his stuff has truly been adapted yet into actual other media. But speaking of other media, we have the game Moonbreaker, which is a turn-based strategy tabletop tactics game developed by Unknown Worlds, the team behind Subnautica. So they went from Subnautica to this. It's designed as a true digital miniatures experience set in an expansive sci-fi universe crafted by best-selling author Brandon Sanderson. Turn-based combat, ongoing content releases, deep customization. Players can basically like collect pieces and units as they go through the game. You can actually paint your miniatures as well in this game, which are, like actually really good custom to a custom degree. Loving the art style. I love the fact that this is sort of has like an XCOM approach to like the turn-based aspect, but obviously these characters don't actually move. They speak, they fire and whatnot, but they don't have any like other animation outside of that. No, it all comes down to probably like the love of the turn-based like tabletop approach, which I'm really intrigued by, to be honest. And also, this game is coming out on early access on September 29th.
Oh, very soon then.
Yeah, so obviously, again, like supposedly there's over like 50 different like characters. So 50 units, rosters, and captains to assist. The painting looks very in depth, to be honest. Like, it has like 4 layers and whatnot. And obviously, I don't know if this is PvP or PvE. I'm presuming it will be PvP.
Yeah, you can't have something like this and it not be PvP, especially if it's turn-based. It's a very interesting approach, really. It's like how you would play D&D on Tabletop Simulator with your little character models. It's just something very unique for this era of games.
Yeah, no, definitely great. And also, like, it's very interesting to come from the Subnautica team.
It is different. It's very different.
To go from the depths of the ocean to the tabletop, like, it's quite different, to be honest. But yeah, this is my next game. Again, like, I'm trying to expand my gaming like repertoire. Like, I finally played Spyro the first time a couple of years ago with the the Reignited trilogy, because I never played when I was younger. Greedfall, I started playing because I never played that before, and this is the type of game I'm actually trying to get into next. So yeah, that's my next game. Right, we are now going to hop back over to Fergus, and his next game is going to be...
We are going for Blacktail, A Witch's Fate. So this is Focus Entertainment and the Parasite Games have teamed up to make a surreal first-person action-adventure game where you play as a witch, Baba Yaga, and explore the woods filled with lots of Slavic folklore. This is, again, a lot of exploration, mystery, I think probably quite a bit of horror, judging by the trailer. It sounds a lot like, depending on your playthrough, you'll either become a woods-loving good witch or a evil witch that will terrify the children of the forest or the local village.
Or going to be Keanu Reeves in John Wick.
Yes, the boogie monster.
Yeah, Baba Yaga.
Baba Yaga. Yeah. So I think this is quite heavily entrenched in folklore, because Baba Yaga is a known folk entity. Suspect it might be a shorter game, but the story looks quite interesting. It's the whole dual personality. I think there's a whole thing of she was born without a face, so she has a mask. Yeah, the story intrigues me. I think the gameplay is going to be quite interesting, but this is going to be one to play for the vibes and some interesting story elements, I think.
Yeah, no, again, like, very interesting, to be honest. Like, it's nice to see, like, games coming out now from different cultures, and obviously, taking up these, like, these, how can I put this? Exploring different cultures. Because obviously we had, like, in other media, like, what was the show? Squid Game. So Squid Game became extremely popular on Netflix from the Korean market in the West, which it just goes to show people are experiencing that now. We have we have the game that you recently just spoke about, which was
Where the Winds Meet.
Where the Winds Meet.
Chinese history, yeah.
And we also have that other game coming out, the Journey to the West game, Black Sun. Oh, the name. The name is insert name here, and I'll cut that in afterwards. But basically, yeah, that looks. I know they released some gameplay footage to that, which does look amazing. Again, like, very interesting to see this play out. I think you are right that it won't probably be a long game, but I bet the narrative itself will be quite condensed and, like, quite packed.
Yeah, I think so, and probably worth a couple of playthroughs just to see what the good and bad endings are, this sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely agree. Right. Moving along, my next game is The Lords of the Fallen. Now, this is actually just going to be, like, more of a quick honorable mention. We're actually going to put it in the middle here. It's The Lords of the Fallen, which is actually a sequel or soft reboot of the Lords of the Fallen game that came out a few years ago. This actually takes place 1,000 years after the original. It's a dark fantasy Souls-like game, RPG. Also, for today's episode, people, I am wearing a Hellfire Club t-shirt. The reason being is because a lot of people heard a voice in this trailer, which they were very happy by, because it was the voice of the actor Joseph Quinn, who recently became very popular for a little-known show called Stranger Things.
Uh,
He played the character of Eddie, and he was extremely popular in the show. And he actually does the voiceover for this game. I was actually quite surprised that he actually did it. I didn't actually recognize the voice at all. But again, I have Lords of the Fallen on my PlayStation. I believe it's in my PS Plus library. This has a very heavy rock musical background as well, musical soundtrack, which I think is very interesting. Again, this is only a CGI trailer, but it definitely does put across the whole Souls-like approach of actually dying and the whole rebirth aspect. You're basically dying and coming back to life, which is a whole thing in Souls-like games. But again, really interesting to see. So again, this is just a quick honorable mention. Going to move on to my actually, let's go back to you, Fergus. Let's go back to you, and let's do your next game.
Next up, we have Bandai Namco's Park Beyond. In case you couldn't get enough of theme park building simulating games. Historically, I'm a very big fan of this kind of builder game, things like Roller Coaster Tycoon. I think there were a couple of others that had a more 3D approach, which this certainly does. I think it's got quite a good track building system. I suspect you're going to be able to ride your own rides. There was some talk of VR, so you may be able to get yourself into a position to make your own roller coasters and then ride them in VR, which I think is quite an intriguing prospect, actually. I very much enjoyed the first-person riding roller coasters mechanics in previous games like this. So you can never really get enough of this sort of stuff. So I don't think it's going to be a massive change from things like Roller Coaster Tycoon. I think stylistically it'll be better, the graphics will be better, the engine and what is technically possible will be better, but in terms of the base game, it's going to be pretty similar by the looks of it. But that is no bad thing. Also coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Again, I say again, we haven't actually spoken about this together, but I've never been hugely into the simulator games, the park simulator games. But I've recently played. What was the game I recently played, Fergus? The simulator game on Game Pass. Oh, is it going to wash over you?
Mine has gone blank. I'm going to say something silly like
I literally just gave you the pun for it as well. It washes over you.
Surfing simulator. Surfing school simulator?
How dare you? It was Power Wash Simulator.
Oh, yes. No, I remember now. Yes, good old Power Wash Simulator.
But yeah, I know lots of people who are into these games, obviously yourself included. Again, yeah, this does look just like a lot of fun, to be honest. And I think it's just one of those games that... Now, do these games get quite hectic, or are they more like a calm game? That says it all, to be honest.
They can be quite calm and sort of long-winded, but sometimes it can, it depends how well you're doing, really. If things are going wrong, it is pretty hectic and you've got to intervene pretty quickly and severely to save yourself from going bankrupt or achieve a goal or whatnot. But a lot of the time it is quite, if you want to kill 6 hours relaxing, being a nice-ish environment that you are in control of, the most part, that's what it is.
That's awesome. That is great. Right, we're going to hop along to my next game. And my next game is... What is that game going to be? That game is going to be... It's on my list here. Okay, so we're actually near the end of my games list. It is the game Dune Awakening.
This does seem interesting, yeah.
So yeah, I've been reading up a bit of the news for this game, to be honest. It is an MMO, and my track record with MMOs has not been amazing. I will be honest. I have tried Star Wars, the Old Republic. I've tried Star Trek. I've tried also what else? I've tried basically but no, basically yeah, I've tried like, I've tried Lotro, I've tried Eve, I've tried like, DC Universe Online, City of Heroes. WoW is the one of them I didn't try. But I hated the fact that all these games I bought went free to play. Like all of them went free to play. Like I was like, no, I spent like so much money. Why? Like, and I actually had friends at the time who bought the lifetime pass for Lord of the Rings as well. And so hearing about this game though, I'm very intrigued by what could happen. Like, obviously this is only a teaser. Then this is coming from Funcom, who are known for doing the Conan Exiles game. And if that was quite popular, I heard a lot of people from who actually like the Conan franchise did really like that game, to be honest. So they actually did, dig quite deep into that. And I'm very intrigued by the fact that this is following the design of the movie.
It does look a lot like the movie, yes. I think they might be trying to capitalize on the 8 Dune films that we've got coming to cinemas in the next decade.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is literally the same, like, it's the same logo, it's the same still suit. I believe they're called still suits, it's the water collecting suits. But, like, when it actually comes to this, though, and, this is coming from Eurogamer. Dune Awakening was first teased in 2019 when it signed a deal with Legendary Studios. Obviously, this makes at least 3 games set to make at least 3 games set in Frank Herbert's Dune universe. Interesting. So I wonder if this will be an MMO and they'll be doing a different game. So that'll be intriguing, to be honest. Maybe not all of them are MMOs. But head into mapped sectors and be the first to discover secrets of riches before the Corollis storms once again shift the sands and alter the landscape, narrowly escape colossal sandworms, build your own home from shelter to mighty base, and traverse the dunes in iconic vehicles from the universe. Hunt for spice blooms and deploy your harvester and protect it from rival factions in fast-paced, deadly combat that shifts seamlessly from armored ground cars to ornithopters in the sky. Plot your rise to power and build your influence with the Landsraad through careful intrigue. The one concern I have is hearing plot your rise to power. And obviously, if you know the Dune franchise, there's one character that pretty much takes over as it goes on. So I'm wondering how, like, maybe you'll get like to a certain level, or if this is set like hundreds of years before, like possibly this is probably what will happen.
Alternate Dune universe.
I don't know if they do an alternate if they're using the same style as the movies.
Yeah, maybe it comes out of sync with the movies. I don't know. Then I don't know.
Again, this does very interesting. This does look very, very interesting. Right, Fergus, we are hopping back to you.
Okay, so this is my final pick. Tortuga, A Pirate's Tale. Admittedly, not the best trailer. There's some frame rate issues in the trailer, which is not especially encouraging. But the concept of the game does intrigue me quite a lot. You are a pirate/pirate ship, and it is a turn-based strategy adventure. Coming from the developer Gaming Minds Studios, published by Calypso Media, coming very early 2023. You start out as a mediocre pirate, you become with the goal to becoming the great pirate, customize your own flags, raid and voyage in the Caribbean Sea, engage in tactical naval battles with your fellow pirates, upgrade your fleet, take over the high seas. I've not seen a tactical turn-based pirate game before, I don't think. And I kind of want to play one now.
Yeah, no, definitely. When I first saw, for some reason I still have that trailer up. It just basically went from Tortuga to Dune people that we were talking about. I actually thought for a split second this was Skull and Bones when it first appeared. So Ubisoft Skull and Bones. Obviously it isn't, but yeah. Never fully this was turn-based, but obviously this is going to be in the Epic Store. Is it multiple platforms, or did we get much more information on that?
I'm looking at the Epic Store listing for it, and I didn't see any Steam listings. but it might be on consoles. I don't know yet.
Well, we will see. We will see. Right, people. We are now going to go on to my game, my final game, and that is a game. We're gonna get into a little bit now. This was a game first announced in 2014. So that puts into perspective how long this game has been in development. We're talking about Dead Island 2, people. Dead Island 2. So a bit of backstory for this. Obviously, it's actually been announced to come out for PS4, PS5, Stadia, Windows, Xbox One, Xbox Series X for February 3rd, 2023 by Dambuster Studios. So obviously this game has gone through quite a tumultuous development period. It had multiple developers. Jaeger Development obviously originally hired to do it in 2012, but removed in 2015, replaced by Sumo Digital, who were then replaced the following year. And then it was handed over to Dambuster Studios, who's an internal studio of Deep Silver. I really enjoyed the first Dead Island game. I think when it comes to these sorts of titles, I'm wondering how it plays out, to be honest. But obviously we've just recently had Dying Light 2, which is a game set in a city with zombies and free running and all this and everything. And also the fact when it comes to these sorts of games, Dying Light 2 had the similar mechanics of customizable weapons that you can upgrade to attack the enemy. The one thing that had over this series was it had the parkour, which was very good. And they actually improved in the sequel. I thought the parkour in the sequel was great. They did a recent update as well for the Dying Light 2 and plus DLC announcement. But we've had a CGI trailer with the announcement for Dead Island 2. I actually quite liked the look of the trailer. It was a nice little trailer. Obviously, it was announced that it's going to be set in LA. Now, we'll get into that in a second. But again, I'm very intrigued by how this will play out. Because obviously, we're finally getting this game next February after so long. Could the hype be gone? Could people stick to one game? I'm really intrigued by this because obviously, one of the original trailers for this was the trailer that Goat Simulator 3 took the piss out of, which was the guy running along the boardwalk.
Right.
And, everyone get killed in the background. And then when Goat Simulator 3 did that trailer, everyone thought it was Dead Island 2. And a lot of people thought that maybe the developers were going to have a cross thing where they were going to start off with a goat. So it looked like this. So it looked like it's the reverse. Kind of hoped they did that, to be honest. That would have been very intriguing. But again, CGI trailer looked interesting. Obviously, they announced a lot of they had some gameplay footage come out for the game recently, which will be very interesting. Wondering how it plays out. They've said there's a procedural gore tech, which is wild. This is coming from IGN on the YouTube page. Caught with two of the developers, so two of the Dead Island 2 directors to discuss the brutal combat, impressive gore tech on what to expect to find in the zombie-infested streets of Los Angeles. Again, I'm wondering how this is going to play out. Looks very interesting, to be honest. But
it looks like it'll be a fun splatter them up in quite a nice setting.
I do have to say, though, one thing, though. For a game called Dead Island 2...
They're not on an island.
Exactly. And also, they have a weird tagline at the end. Quite a weird tagline. It is basically, see you in LA.
That's an attempt at that's a decent attempt, I guess.
And don't get me wrong, seeing the trailer, it is very, very violent. When they actually did the actual trailer on the show floor, when they actually did the opening night, they actually blurred some stuff out. We're watching the uncut version. I may blur this for us ourselves, so you could go check it online yourselves. But again, visually, looks quite impressive. The lighting looks really nice.
The zombies are very squishy.
No one's squishy.
No one's running and hiding from these zombies. They're casually wandering around the street, splatting the zombies. So it's kind of in terms of that kind of vibe.
So I don't know what someone said on another podcast. I can't remember specifically what it was, but to make this Dead Island 2, what would be intriguing is if the Santa Monica or the fault line.
Yeah.
If that actually did go
an island, yeah. Oh, maybe that'll be it.
Or maybe as the game goes on, earthquakes happen and the city becomes less and less open, or it opens like areas of the city that weren't accessed before.
Maybe.
Actually been the earthquake in. That'd be quite intriguing, to be honest. But yeah, that was my final game, though. To be honest, obviously, we had 40 different titles for this Gamescom, and that this was literally just opening night. We had stuff like the Callisto Protocol, which we could talk about very briefly. It's about did you see the trailer for that?
I think so. Is this the one that is suspiciously like Dead Space?
I mean, it's from the original Dead Space creator, but
Yeah,
also the gore looks stupidly impressive. Also, they've stated that there is going to be a mechanic called mutations, where if you do not take out the enemies quick enough, they will mutate into a stronger opponent.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
And obviously, it has a lot of telekinetic abilities to actually go up against enemies like Dead Space. But again, really look forward to that, and that comes out in December. Really look forward to that playing out. And obviously, we had oh yes, also actually one game I forgot to mention. I apologize, people. One game on my list which I didn't mention. Sorry, this was actually my final game. It was The Expanse, a Telltale series game with Camille Drummer. Obviously, this is a prequel to the TV series. And obviously, I believe this is going to be Telltale's first game as the new studio. So obviously, we've got The Wolf Among Us 2 coming out with the rejig they're doing. But I'm very intrigued to see how this plays out, to be honest. I'm a massive fan of the Expanse series. And it is the actual voice actress is coming back to actually do the actual voice herself, which is great. But yeah, no, again, this looks really fun. This obviously the footage we've seen is pre-alpha footage. So I'm presuming this will look very intriguing as it goes along. Again, for a Telltale game, though, it looks very detailed compared to texture-wise, animation-wise, compared to previous titles. The actual narrative itself, I'm wondering if it will be a lot of quick time events, a lot of discussions. But yeah, that actually was my final game on my list, to be honest. So yeah, I totally forgot to mention that. I'm quite sad at myself that I did that, to be honest, Fergus.
There's just too many games.
Again, people, too many games, so many games coming out. We had loads of expansions for loads of stuff. We had the Atlas Trials, the Finals, Hard Space, Shipbreaker, Friends versus Friends. Again, people, what we might do is we might actually put a list on Twitter for everyone. So basically, you can actually go to see all the games that were announced on Gamescom, the opening night. So it's just easy for you to see all the trailers that come out. Obviously, when you see the YouTube version of this, you actually see the trailers as well. But Fergus, obviously, we have, so much more of Gamescom coming up. We have the Future Game Show. We have all these other events coming up. And then in 2-3 weeks' time, as I said before, we have the D23 Marvel Star Wars gaming event.
Yeah.
And then we have the next day, the Ubisoft Forward.
There is just a huge amount of content being dropped right now, isn't there?
I'm so hoping, so hoping at the Ubisoft event that we get to see the first Splinter Cell footage from the remake. What they're doing. And also, we get to see footage from the Netflix series they're doing for it.
Yes, that'd be good. It'd be a very good, I was going to say prime opportunity. Rival streaming service. No, yeah, that'd be a very good opportunity to do that. Assuming they have got the content.
I'm hoping they do.
Drop.
Really hoping they do, to be honest. But yes, people, that is it. That is it, people. We have when it comes to the Gamescom events, we've given you all that lovely gaming news. We've been through 10 games of the 40 that have been announced today. How did you find it, Fergus? Actually trying to decide, what games to actually talk about.
Quite tricky, really. I ended up rejecting the overall theme of space, I think. I went for things that seemed a bit out of the ordinary in terms of that massive pool of games. But there are definitely some interesting games out there. I said that my selections are definitely ones that I will be following up in the future. But I mean, there's a huge amount of very good game out there and coming very soon. It's going to be impossible to play them all.
It's like Pokemon. We've got to play them all. We've got to play them all, Fergus.
I don't see how. I would need to start producing clones to be able to get through them.
Naruto Shadow Clone Jutsu.
Yes. I
Yeah,
think so.
retain that gaming information as well. But yes, people, that is the end of the episode. We are now at the outro. We are now at the outro where we do the song I was going to sing, but I really can't get on that track right now because my energy is kind of low. And now I'm going to do the outro for you all. Again, like, it's lovely to have you all here, people. Hopefully you've enjoyed our discussion on Gamescom today. And it's just a fraction of the games that have been announced. And the end of 2022 and 2023 and beyond is looking amazing. Just really looking amazing, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Right, but yeah, people, right. Obviously, obviously the last YouTube episode was delayed. Unfortunately, obviously I'm still recovering, so trying to get that animated is taking a bit more time because we've got a bit of technical difficulty there. So that will be going up at some point, as well as episode 33 YouTube. But don't worry, these will still all be in audio format, so you can still hear them out there. But right, people, if you want to get any content, sorry, we've always got to do this, people. Right. If you want to get in contact with any questions, queries, compliments, what were some of your games that you enjoyed from Gamescom? Obviously, by the time you're listening to this, the episode for the Future Game Show might not be out. So please give us some of your games then. We may discuss them in the next episode when we do that. We'll probably do that later in the week or next week's episode. So we'll probably do a part 1 or 2. Also, check out our soundtracks episode coming up a bit later. I know we've been looking forward to doing that for quite a while. And then we get into the spooky season, which we've had some topics in the works since January that we've been looking forward to doing, but we decided to hold them off for October because, well, can't really do survival horror and all that horror stuff unless it's the spooky season, can we, Fergus?
You've got to make use of Halloween.
Halloween! That was a little Brooklyn Nine-Nine reference for you people out there. 9-9. But yes, people, again, if you have any questions, queries, or compliments, any ideas, come back to us. Any feedback you want to give to the podcast, and maybe any suggestions, please contact us at nmipodcast@outlook.com. That's nmipodcast@outlook.com. Look for us on all the social channels, Twitter, Instagram, at NMIcast. Maybe tweet us there, retweet us there. Our website's currently in the works, nmicast.com. If you actually go to the website, it's a little under maintenance, under construction at the moment. So we definitely look forward to getting it out for you people. Again, people, right. Sending us lovely, lovely content. We're definitely looking forward to come back again. I've been your host, Nate. I want to thank Fergus again for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Right, people. You stay safe, everyone. Enjoy Gamescom. Hopefully you see all the lovely games out there for you all. Maybe we'll get some surprise titles that weren't on opening night. They're going to come out of nowhere. Be very intriguing to see. I've been your host, Nate, everyone. Stay safe, everyone. Keep safe. Bye-bye.
Bye.